So hello everyone, and thank you for being here with us today. We're going to go ahead and get started for our spring cleaning webinar. I'm Annabeth Riggs. I'm the Sales and Marketing Coordinator for Colorado Time Systems, and we're very excited to have Carrie Spencer and Stephen Parker with us today to discuss some recommended upkeep tips for your CTS equipment. I know we promised John Doran to be on here, but he was tied up on an installation this morning. So we have Stephen Parker instead. He has been an installation technician with Colorado Time Systems for 2 years now, traveling the country, installing our video displays, scoreboards, and timing systems. He's also a great resource in our customer service department. And then Carrie Spencer, she is our Eastern Regional Sales Manager. She's been with Colorado Time Systems since the beginning of 2018, but has experience with our equipment for like 29 years. So way back in her teenage years and into her professional career, she is well versed in our equipment and maintaining our equipment. So we're excited to have them present some tips to you today. So just a few things before we get started. We will be taking questions and comments after the presentation. So there is a question pane within your platform. Feel free as we're going through everything to type in your questions there, and any comments after the presentation, we'll start to answer those. If we do have time after that, just playing it by ear, we could possibly have some verbal discussions and questions and answers depending on the time that we have left. And lastly, there will be an email sent to you after this webinar. It's going to come from Carrie. It'll have all of the resources linked that we discussed today or that are mentioned today. And also a little survey. So if you like this webinar, let us know, and let us know what else you'd like to see throughout 2021 as far as webinars go. And without further ado, I am going to pass this over to Carrie Spencer.
Thanks, Annabeth. All right, I'm going to turn off my webcam and let's get started. So, hi everyone. This last year has been tough on all of us. Many of you had limited or no chance to compete, and it's nice now that we're back in the water and some facilities are even hosting events again. This long break, though, probably meant that your CTS equipment didn't get any use and probably collected a little dust. So let's jump right in and see what we'll be talking about today. We're first going to take a little poll to see how you do maintenance on a normal year. All right. Awesome. Well, it looks like everybody's doing maintenance. I appreciate that as a former facility operator myself. I'm not sure that only when needed may be the best answer for us, and that's why we're here today. And here's what we're going to go over, a brief overview of what we're going to do. We want to make sure that you guys are prepared as we move into competitions throughout this year. Having a maintenance go bag, what to do with your banana plugs, your batteries for your starters, your cable harness and wall plates. Provide some resources for you, and then, like Annabeth said, have a question and answer session at the end. So with all due respect, let's go and talk about a maintenance bag. Many of us have been in the unfortunate situation when running an event where a touchpad or button just isn't registering on the timer, and we'll have to scramble around to find something to clean it or check it out. So what about having a bucket or a tackle box or something right next to your timing table that has all these supplies in it? Has rubbing alcohol or alcohol pads, a CTS touchpad meter, a toothbrush, a nylon bristle brush, some dielectric grease, and even some marine strike hold. These kind of common items will help you take care of your equipment, and especially in a pinch, provide a very, very quick cleaning option for you in that. Now, let's talk about the items for a banana plug. When we're talking about a banana plug, I'd be really interested to see through our next poll of um, how you guys clean off your banana plugs after an event. All right. Good, thank you. Everybody knows that we should clean all of our banana plugs with fresh water. Pool water has a lot of corrosive properties, and we want to make sure that when cleaning any of our CTS equipment that we're using fresh water so that we make sure that those corrosive properties do not stay on the banana plug itself. We have all, our start jump cables, your buttons, your touch pads, all use banana plugs. And we want to make sure that they are clean and make a good connection each time. So there's an easy way for us to maintain them, and that's using a toothbrush and some rubbing alcohol. Really, really simple in that. And then after an event, we rinse the banana plugs with fresh water and let air dry, just so that no harsh chemicals can get on there in that. And then apply a thin coat of dielectric grease to those prongs and store in a dry area. Again, dry area so that less dust and grime can collect on them. We don't recommend that the dielectric grease gets wiped off, because actually that dielectric grease itself is going to provide conductive properties when we plug it back into either our cable harness or our deck plate itself. So let's go ahead and watch a short snippet of a banana plug video. And give me 1 second.
If corrosion does begin to appear on the plugs, cleaning them with a toothbrush dipped in rubbing alcohol should be enough to remove any light corrosion. By following these simple steps, you should be able to keep your banana plugs free of any severe corrosion that would require harsher chemicals.
All right. So we always want to make sure that our banana plugs are well taken care of, that you can always see that nice silver surface, and that the prongs aren't bent in, so that it will make a solid connection when we're when you're plugging it into your harness or your deck plate in there. The next thing we're going to do is talk about our batteries. We're going to take another quick poll all about kind of how you store your starter. Do you store it charged in, or do you charge it for a little bit and then unplug it? Just so we can see where everybody might be about understanding how our starters work. All right, so a little bit of 50, well, not 50-50, but kind of half and half on the plugged in until next event and plugged in long enough to charge it. So we recommend that you plug in your starter after each event and leave it plugged in. Our starters and these batteries are made so that they will charge to a full charge, and then they will do a trickle charge as needed if the battery level drops. So it is okay to utilize charging all the time. So that's something for everybody to take back to their facilities. We also want to make sure that that you can purchase these batteries from us in our online store or through your regional sales manager. But you may also buy them at Batteries Plus, at your local Batteries Plus. Please note that the picture posted here is the exact battery we use. And so you also want to make sure that you get that item and make sure it's with the F1 terminals, as that best fits what are within our systems and all the connections in there. And just for those who aren't aware, our Infinity Starter only has one battery, and then our Champ Starter has two on that. Very easy to change the batteries. So at any time, please visit our website to get the directions to change the batteries if you're unaware of how to do that. All right, let's talk a little bit about our cable harnesses and our wall plates. This is probably, besides banana plugs, it's probably one of our number one, calls or as operators when we're out in the field, the 50-pin connection, right? That the black end on all of your cable harnesses, along with what is in your wall plate, can really get corroded really quickly if it's not taken care of. And so we should clean these with rubbing alcohol and a nylon bristle brush. We don't recommend that you use dielectric grease on those ends, and the reason for is it can attract dust and grime, and that dust and grime can inhibit a connection to your timer. And so because each one of those pins does represent a specific signal, we want to make sure that you're if pin 11 is blocked, you're not going to get button A for lane 1. And so if we have a good solid clean connection in there, then you should get all of your times and data come through your timer in that. On your cable harnesses, on your on-deck harnesses, the pods themselves, they can be cleaned also with rubbing alcohol and a nylon bristle brush. And an item of note is if you have 2 or more pods on your cable harness that are not working, it is time to buy a new cable harness. And again, those can be bought through our online store, through your regional sales manager. But just after wear and tear on there, and the cost to repair those pods itself, it is not cost prohibitive for you to repair it. So it's better just to buy a new cable harness in that. And so we want to make sure at all times that people are putting a thin layer of dielectric grease on top of those pods, so that when you do lay, and those pods are where you plug in your prime and your A or your B and C button, depending which harness you're using, so that when you're plugging in your banana plugs, that again, if there is a chance for any corrosion or things like that, that the dielectric grease is promoting a solid connection and will help provide that for you. Next, I'm going to talk about what kind of resources we have at CTS. We strive to provide quality customer service in a timely manner. As a former facility operator, it is probably one of the top things that I appreciated from my 17 years of running a facility, is that I could always count on calling Colorado Time anytime during an event or at any point in time to get the information I needed and help in either it was online or I could speak to somebody and get an answer rather quickly. Our CTS website has a lot of information, especially under our support tab. The online manuals are there for every product we have, and even including some maintenance tips and a maintenance checklist on there. We also have training videos and some troubleshooting tips. And this is also where you would get any software downloads and updates for any of the equipment that you may have, be it your Gen 7 legacy timer, even your System 6 if it hasn't been updated, or if you're into water polo and to some of our multi-sports, our tabletop downloads are there. Also our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel has all of our training videos on there, but it's in one spot and easy to find. And we have been adding things, especially throughout this COVID process. We have been adding things on a monthly basis in regards to some of our products, especially our Gen 7 line. As we get more videos made, they are uploaded there and then are shared on our social media platforms too. Also, our support department is available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. And if you need them after hours, you can call and leave a message, and somebody will reach you after that. Or email them at support@coloradotime.com, and they will get back to you, during normal business hours rather quickly, and then after hours, within a reasonable time frame. So with that said and done, I'm going to prepare us for questions. So please, if you've asked some questions in the online platform, go ahead, you can type there. If we have time, we're going to open it up for some additional questions. We'll do our best to answer the questions asked. If we have to cut our session short due to too many questions and/or we need to abbreviate an answer, we will get back to you personally through email or a phone call later today with our responses. We thank you for your time today, and again, are happy everyone's back in the water, and we look forward to seeing you on the deck soon.
Okay, so we did have some good questions come in, so I'm going to go down the list, and we start with, can you list the items needed in that maintenance bucket? So we will be sending out on the email that's going to follow this is going to give you a good idea of what you should put in that bucket and where you can buy those products. But Carrie, would you want to run through those again really quick?
Absolutely. Dielectric grease can be purchased pretty much at any of your big box stores or Amazon. A toothbrush, a nylon bristle brush, or your straw cleaners that are very popular these days. Rubbing alcohol, we recommend 90% isopropyl. But in a quick fix, a lot of us use our alcohol pads from our first aid kits. And a touchpad meter, and then the Marine Strike Hold is another cleaning product that you can use. Most of us probably haven't used it, but is really good for our environment because the marine world is kind of has all the sea and the salt and things like that. So it has a lot of contaminants that it's working against, and it provides a nice layer of film to protect the items. So
Perfect. And then another good comment was Batteries Plus will take your old batteries back. So that's a good tip if you want to trade in some batteries. And then another question, is the dielectric grease the same as silicone spray? Do we know?
Steve,
Steve?
I'm gonna defer to Steve.
So the dielectric grease is not the same. I don't know what its base is made of, but it's just a conductive kind of grease. And like she was saying, you can get that at Home Depot or Lowe's in that red container that was shown earlier. But it's because of its consistency, it's a little bit thicker. It tends to stay put and not go away like silicone sprays.
So thank you. Yeah, we prefer the grease over the spray. And then another question, when can I get an update for my System 6? Is that a Steve question?
That's a Steve question.
Updates are online on our website. If you're looking for something specific, you can call us. But most of our software updates are online. But if you want something like add a sport on to what you already have that you may need, you can call us on that, and we'll be happy to walk you through the process of getting that put on for a cost, of course.
Our system 6s, they're, the updates that are online are the last updates that will be there for that product. Our new Gen 7 line has been released for the legacy and the serial system. So so just something to think about as you guys move forward.
Okay, and then will this webinar PowerPoint be available for download? And I can answer that one. We have recorded this session and we will make it available on demand throughout sometime in April in the upcoming weeks. So if you want to review it or share it with your teammates or members of your staff, that'll be available for you. And then the next one, we are required to store our pace clocks in an outdoor shed. I have replaced the batteries, but the numbers seem to be getting dim after 2.5 to 3 hour practice. How can I make sure these pace clocks last for a whole practice? That's a Steve question.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as the pace clocks, referring back to where we keep them on charge at all times, they do not like to be discharged. If you discharge them too far or even let them die and then try to recharge them back, you'll see it failing really early, and the life expectancy is shortened greatly. So if you're storing them at all, make sure they're kept on power charge and trickling, and keep the batteries will stay in pretty good condition. All batteries are they have a limited life, just like your car battery. Car battery lasts maybe 4 years. Same thing with these. These are a sealed gel cell battery, but they are a kind of a lead acid battery, so they will eventually give out, even if you're taking really good care of them. They've still got a life expectancy of 3 to 4 years. So you want to think about changing them when you see something like that happening after having them a while.
Okay, and then on to the next one. So once the banana plugs are corroded, is it the same process for cleaning them as we outlined today, or should we start practicing something more aggressive for those corroded banana plugs?
The corrosion, you can get more aggressive with it. There's products like CLR that you can get at the store to get in there and scrub with that. It's pretty toxic stuff, really, but that's about the only way to get the green slime and rust and stuff like that off of it. And then you want to rinse it clean and dry it and put the conductive grease on it.
And that is outlined in your touchpad manual, and we talk about it in several places on the support tab, and it's in that YouTube video as well. So we will be, again, sending all of those resources out to you all after this webinar. What are your opinions about using Lime Away to clean banana plugs? Is that a no-no?
Lime Away is very similar to CLR. As a matter of fact, I use it in the shop here to do the more intense cleanings of the on deck banana plug receptacles. But again, you want to use it, and once you get it clean, you want to rinse it clean and dry it very well. You don't want any trace of it on there, and then coat. It needs to be coated immediately with the conductive grease in the holes of your on deck harness and on the pins of your banana plugs.
Perfect. And then this is a fun one. It sounds like some of our viewers want to see Carrie and Steve again. Could y'all turn your cameras back on? just to answer the rest of these questions till we pop off.
Sure.
Perfect. Okay, and then the pricing on the touchpad meter, that's available on the online store. You know the price off
Absolutely.
the top of your head? I think it's
I'm going to
$210.
say 210. Yeah, that's where I was going.
So this is a good one too. Is any maintenance possible inside a starter microphone in order to prevent corrosion, or do we recommend anything for those mics?
There's nothing internally that is really serviceable, even though you can take them apart. Unfortunately, these mics are really delicate, and the red button is, it has a very small amount of play to actually engage it, and the microphone part, when you press it, it's got a slide switch in there that it's not serviceable, and you can't coat it with anything. The best thing to do is, keep it in a dry environment when not in use, and don't let it get in the pool.
Good tips. So the CTS 6, so System 6 battery, can that be replaced on their own, or what do you recommend?
There is instructions that we can send out. It's really an operation to take the 6 apart is risky sometimes if you're not comfortable with electronics. There are a lot of ribbon cables in there that can easily get dislodged or torn. But you can buy the battery from us, and it is replaceable by the customer. It's risky, like I said. Anytime you go in, there are possibilities of doing more damage than good. That's why we recommend sending it to us so we can do a full service cleaning and battery replacement, and update the software.
Perfect. And then another good one, deck plate maintenance. I know we didn't really talk about it. We talked about wall plates. Is there a big difference in cleaning the titanium ones versus the older style deck plates?
It's a good question. The titanium deck plates really don't need cleaning per se. You can rinse them with clean water. It'd be fine. It's nice about the titanium, it doesn't rust or corrode or anything like that. The biggest problem with the deck plates is getting stuff in them, like gum and bobby pins and foreign matter. Those are always fun to try to dig out, but pipe cleaners and stuff like that can get in there and clean them. But you don't have to put anything in them like you do your on deck harness.
Got it. Okay. So a recommendation about touchpads. They're out of warranty and they're starting to leak a little bit for this customer. So would you recommend sending those in or trying to do something poolside at your own facility?
So if you see the touchpad start to peel up on the edge of the aqua grip, the rough part of the touchpad, if you catch it early enough, you can use 100% clear silicone sealer that you get at your Home Depot or whatever, and put a small bead of it around there and press it down and keep some pressure on it to keep that lip from rolling up, so it never gets to the point where water is getting behind it. If you tackle it early, your pads will last a long time, and you won't have a problem.
Okay. And then noticed after not hosting meets for 9 months, some of the understarting block speaker banana plugs are frozen in the deck plate. Why did this happen, and how can I clean the connection after pulling the banana plug with difficulty?
So if they got frozen into the titanium deck plate, yeah, you're going to have to pull it out by force. And like I said, you don't have to worry about the titanium port, but the banana plugs are basically regular spring steel. We cannot make them out of titanium or any other metal like that. Spring steel is a specific kind of metal, and they are subject to corrosion. And if they've sat in there for a while, it may be up to the point where we have to replace them. And we do sell the banana plug replacement. You can buy those from us, and they're really easy to do. It's cut them off, strip them, and put the new banana plugs on. There are some procedures that I don't know if we have a procedure written for that, but I'll make sure that that is available. But yeah, you may have to cut it off and put a new one on if it's too far gone, where the spring steel is no longer viable.
We have a video on that, our training video page.
Oh, nice. This one I believe is for Carrie. Can I replace my System 6 with a serial system? I'm assuming that's Gen 7 serial.
No, our Gen 7 serial is particularly built for new builds and retrofits for facilities that are going through renovations. The Gen 7 Legacy is a direct replacement for the System 6 with the caveat that it is swimming and pace clock only. The water polo and diving are standalone options for the Gen 7 system. If you're interested, call your regional sales manager and they can assist you.
And then, thank you, Carrie. And I'm not sure about this one. Is there a video on how to actually clean the cable harness and the wall plate? I will check for that and see if we have it, and I've marked it, and to send you a link or give you some written guidance around that. Okay, so someone just got some new touchpads at their facility, and some of the Velcro has already started to come off, which seems like that's pretty quick after 4 uses. So what's your recommendation to keep that Velcro on there to fix it from where it's coming off already?
You can use a type of glue, like the contact cement type of stuff. It's called a Super 90 by 3M. It's a spray. You can, when you peel the back away, you can spray both sides of where it tacks, and let it tack for about 15 minutes, and then lay it down nice and smooth, get a firm contact, and then let it dry for a good amount of time. And at that, again, that's usually that it lets go if it's prolonged in the water. You know, if you've left the pads in the water for a couple of weeks, or the more time it spends in the water, the more that's going to separate, because pool water is corrosive, and there's nothing stopping it other than cleaning it with water and shortening the time as much as possible.
Great.
I would also, depending on how old the pads are, if they're under 2 years old, I would also reach out to us to look into that, because those pads are still under warranty, and we would look into the option of why it is happening, and further how we can help you.
So some questions about the Gen 7. Love the Gen 7. I'm happy to hear that. I'm sure we all are. And did we touch on the Gen 7? We didn't on this webinar. We do plan to expand on our Gen 7 maintenance materials and bring those to you when we can. The next question, would you leave batteries plugged in for 3 to 4 months if not in use?
Oh, absolutely. Like we were saying earlier that all these systems are designed to just trickle charge if needed. It's basically anywhere down to 2 milliamps trickle when they're fully charged. It doesn't hurt a thing. It can only help extend the life of the battery.
Okay, next question. The situation he said, I saw one pool wrapping electrical tape around the cable and also wrapping tape between the prongs of the banana plug and back around the cable to prevent the cable from being pulled out of the plug. Any thoughts on this, or would you, not something we would probably recommend doing, I would say.
I guess I'm not getting what they're meaning by pulled out of the plug. The banana plugs, like I said, what we usually do when we build those is they're screwed down. The wires are screwed down. The wires are tinned with solder, but inserted, screwed down tight, and then glued with super glue and cured. So those pins coming out from how we build them would be almost impossible or very rare. But if you do replace the pins, that's where I'd like to, and maybe we can do a video on this to show you how to replace the banana plugs and seal them the right way for customer replacement.
Got it. Thank you. And how often do you recommend you send in the System 6 for maintenance?
We recommend every 5 years, just because the battery is, again, one of those things that they don't last forever. Just like most batteries will die out, even when they're kept on charge and taken care of. It's still recommended at 5 years, and that way we can go through and clean all the connections, check anything internal, update, do all that, do all the necessary stuff for a good maintenance on the machine. I know there's a cost involved with that, but it's well worth maintaining your system so it doesn't have problems in the future.
Got it. And we have a few that like Carrie's background. Nice background pick, Carrie.
From the Niska meet.
Right. And then a really good question and one we hear, how do you safely dispose of a touchpad? I think, Carrie, we talked about this.
We just had a recent conversation about this, and the touchpads are electronics, so you need to check with your local government about how to just safely dispose of touchpads. Some townships or localities may say that it needs to go to e-waste, and some may say it just needs to be recycled, etc. So please follow your local guidelines for that.
And then this one's about the Dolphin wireless stopwatches. Do we have recommended maintenance for those watches? Or the system itself? Yeah.
Again, it's about keeping it dry and away from the pool environment as much as possible. On the switches themselves, you'll see stuff like the ends. Let me see, the screws around here, the switch areas that may start to get rusty. Again, you can go in and clean those with alcohol and a toothbrush. But as far as everything else goes, the number one failure is this reset button, and it as long as you keep it as dry as possible, it'll last a fairly long time. But they do go bad, and that's the number one failure is this reset button.
Good. Thank you for the demonstration too.
Yeah.
So this one's interesting. I've heard that an inner tube repair kit can be used to repair holes in touchpads. Is this something that we recommend or that you've seen or heard of?
Again, it all depends on how much damage has been done to the pad itself. What happens when the aqua grip gets holes in it? It starts putting water behind there and even some nasty mold and whatnot. Like I said, the sooner you seal it up, the better. But if you're going to do that, try to use like a rolling pin and push out as much air and make sure there's no water in it. You can temporarily, it's a temporary measure at best to seal it that way. It is a type of glue per se, so I can't say don't do it, but it is a temporary measure at best.
And I think this kind of plays off that with the adhesive coming off those aqua grip pads. What do you suggest to reapply that front sheet? Should those just be sent in? Do we recommend those coming back to us to repair that aqua grip?
So that front sheet is basically a big sticker. I mean, the entire surface of that sheet is one big sticker. So when it's peeled away far enough and you can't do anything about it, you didn't catch it early enough, it really needs to come in to us for aqua grip replacement and even banana plug replacement. At the time they'll go through and check it all out. Yeah, we do special things to prepare to stick the aqua grip down. We use a special kind of glue that is applied with heat and pressure, and we make sure that there is no foreign matter behind it, no air trapped behind it. So it is always best to have it redone by us.
Another one about banana plugs. Oh, sorry, Carrie, go ahead.
So we just want to make sure that touchpads that are over 8 years old, are at a point where they're unrepairable, and just because of the degradation of the plastic and the PVC behind it.
Yep.
And does the replacement banana plug, will that work on a touchpad? Can you replace that yourself?
Absolutely. The banana plugs that we sell for replacements, they basically are, like I said, a screw-in terminal. You put the wires through the holes and screw it down through the internal part of the banana plug, and it'll hold tight. And like I said, we recommend the way we do it is there's a loop you put the wire through. We usually solder the wires and put it into the connection and screw it down, trim it, and put some super glue in it to seal it.
And I know that we do have some, at least one video on our YouTube channel that'll show you exactly how we recommend replacing that banana plug. Okay, so this one I'm not sure about is Molykote, a dielectric grease. Are either of you familiar with Molykote? Mollykote.
Molykote.
That may be one that we need to come back to. I'll flag it. And again, any questions that we don't get to or skipped over, we're going to go through these and make sure we get you answers. So This one, we have a harness that shows hit and miss in the prime port. Is there a way to fix or clean this port?
So again, it's back to is the hit or miss because of is there not enough pressure being hit on the pad? Did the swimmer hit it hard enough? Sometimes it's not really the connection. Like I said, if you've cleaned it with the alcohol and or lime away and water, did all the other things that we've talked about, but your pad's still not registering very well, then you have to go into using your test meter and maybe even getting a vacuum pump from us to take air out. The difference is if it has too much air, it won't respond very well to a touch. If you have a swimmer light touching it, it won't register. If you take air out, you can get a better response. If you take too much air out, it'll trigger falsely. So there's kind of a fine line, but your test meter and the vacuum pump, and we have a video on that, I believe, on how to get it to your liking, and do it out of the pool, not in the pool, so that no water gets into the system.
And then on the cable harness on the actual pod, if it is not getting, after you've determined that it's not the touchpad, maybe use a button to see if it's the button, but also go back to that 50 pin and look at the 50 pin to make sure that that it is clean and getting the connection, and then we can determine what the next steps of how we could fix that.
Absolutely.
Good. And then we have another storage question. So long storage for the CTS, believe we're talking about the System 6 or a timer. Should you charge that once a month or not charge it until you're using it?
I don't know if it really charges when it's just sitting there doing nothing. I believe it charges most of the time when the power is on, when you're in, when the system's being used. It's also charging at the same time. But I don't know exactly for sure that the answer to that.
We'll find
may have
out.
to readdress that. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. We can do that. And this is just a comment from one of our watchers, but it's important for people to know that all banana plugs are not created the same. They're not equal. So get them from us or order the same ones from the manufacturer, because you could possibly get some cheap ones that are just going to corrode and not be worth your money. So thank you for that comment. It's very helpful. So this is someone that's updated their timer to Gen 7 for swimming, but still use System 6 for diving. It's not working. What is what is the cost to have it looked at and determined to be if it can be repaired? So what is our process for the System 6 repair?
The best thing to do if you have anything going on like that, where you've got an issue, it's best to call in and talk to a technician immediately when you're seeing it, when you're at the pool. We need to properly diagnose the issue. If it's something that we can resolve over the phone, we prefer that, of course. We don't want you to be without your timer at any time, but the best thing to do is talk to us directly and see if we have some suggestions for you or can figure out what's going on.
Right, and we are our customer service teams here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Mountain, and available to take calls or email in to help with your questions or facilitate a repair. Okay, so this next one is someone uses WD-40 to clean banana plugs. Is that recommended?
WD-40 is okay on banana plugs. WD means water displacement. It is a fine thing to do on banana plugs. It causes no harm and it can only help. You don't want to use it anywhere else. Don't use it in the on deck harness. Don't use it on the brass pins on your 50 pin. Nowhere else. Don't use that anywhere else, but on the banana plugs for the touchpads or your buttons.
Perfect. And then this one's just another comment. I've had a number of touchpad surface stickers repaired by us, and our team did a great job, and they work great. So thank you for that. And then it looks like we just have a few more. So how to access the battery in your 4-digit portable clock. You have some guidance on that one.
Are we talking about the Pace clocks, the Pace Clock Pro, Pace Clock Standard?
I'm thinking like a portable pace clock.
Okay. Basically, there's a weather cover shield that that's held on by Velcro on the right side, and you slide that off. Remove the center 2 big digits and the colon. You'll have access to the batteries at that point, and from there it's it's just removing the bracket, which is a 5/16 nuts all the way around it, removing the terminals, put the new ones in, put it all back together. It's fairly straightforward and easy.
And you can always, if you have questions or you start to do it and just want someone to walk you through it, give us a call. Okay, so can air spray helpful for cleaning harnesses? Like a spray air?
Any kind of, anytime you've flushed it with clean water and you can dry it out, then that's going to remove the corrosive aspect of it. I still recommend at that point, and that's a great thing to do, to remove any trace of water, but still you want to coat it with something, because even the air in the pool environment has some causticities to it and can still affect it.
Okay, and I think we have time for just one more. And by the way, your description for the clock and getting to that battery was perfect. He's already in the clock and tinkering around, it sounds like. So this last one, and then we're gonna probably wrap it up. What is the standard life expectancy of cable harnesses?
Steve, I think I'll start. I think there's a lot of factors in that. How many times do you use it, how it's taken care of, how it's stored in there. I'll be honest, in my previous position, I had a cable harness outlive me at my 17 years at my institution. So, but I've also seen people go through cable harnesses as a salesperson in, 2 years. So it all depends on your maintenance and of your equipment, and so making sure that after each event it's taken care of and then stored properly will extend the life in that. On average, though, I would tell you that every 5 years you might be looking at just it's plugged in, it's plugged out, or things get plugged in and out of it and things like that. So just making sure at the 5-year mark you're probably looking at in the next couple of years purchasing one.
And also, when you were laying it out on the deck, there's things that happen. You can run over it with a cart. People are stepping on it, tripping on it, stuff like that. The wires inside can break if it's used and abused. You know, if something crushes it or something like that, there is a chance for the wires to break. They are very thin wires. They can get damaged if you're not careful, but normal use and normal maintenance, you should have a really good longevity with it.
Perfect. Well, thank you both, Carrie and Stephen, for answering all these questions. And we're sorry if we did not reach out about all of your questions. We are going to cycle through these and get answers to any of them that we may have missed. Anything else from Carrie or Stephen before we head out?
No, thanks for your time, everybody, and we're glad you're back in the water.
Right. Bye, and thank you for coming today.